Okay, this is our lesson on the Chapter 4 test review. So follow along with your worksheet. Please pause it when you need to pause it. For additional help, raise your hand, let us know, but pause the video as you need to. Here we go. In this particular triangle, it asks you to state the theorem that you would use to prove the triangle is congruent. Notice that these triangles have vertical angles, so you would want to mark those. Now, this is a tricky one because you want to really pay attention to the marks because they have to be twins. So this has one tick mark, the angle you just marked congruent, and one tick mark. Over here, it has two tick marks, the angle you marked, and two tick marks. Unfortunately, because these don't match, this only uses one tick marks on the side. This uses two tick marks. These are not identical twins. This could be 3 inches. This might be 4 inches, so it wouldn't work out. So number 1 is not possible. That question's really easy for students to make a mistake on because they are not really paying a close attention to those marks. So please, please pay attention to the marks. Okay, number 2, they are sharing that side, so you want to mark triple ticks. Notice we've used 1, 2, so I'm going to use 3. So when I look at this triangle here, it's got 1, 2, 3. Over here, 1, 2, 3. They match. Of course, that is side, side, side. On number 3, they have 1 angle mark here, 2 angle marks there. 1 and 2. Now they're sharing this side, so I can tick mark that. So this triangle has angle, side, angle, which matches this one's angle, side, angle. Number 4, you can mark the shared side. We've already used 1, so we mark it with 2. When I look at it, it's angle, side, side. We know that doesn't work, but this is a specific kind of triangle. It is a right triangle. So does HL work? Well, if that's the right angle, there's my hypotenuse. There's the right angle, that's my hypotenuse. So that side is the hypotenuse. This is a leg, that's a leg. So this is HL. Here we're going to mark the 3 angles, the 3 angle loops there. They're vertical, but however, we don't have angle, angle, angle. It's tempting, but we can't use it. So the answer is not possible. Mark our vertical angles. We have angle, angle, side. Here we have angle, angle, side. Mark our vertical angles. Angle, side, angle matches angle, side, angle. We like it. Now, this one you'll notice is an isosceles triangle because these two sides are equal. Side, side, side. 1, 1, 2. We have 1, 1, 2. So this is side, side, side. They happen to be isosceles. Number 9, they are separate. We cannot add any marks. It's not enough for us. There's not enough information here. So these triangles are not congruent according to what they gave us. All right, 10, 11, 12, and 13. They tell you that 2 triangles are congruent. Triangle QRS is congruent to TUV. Pay close attention to the order of those letters. Name the angle or side that corresponds to the given part. Q. Q is listed first. T is listed first, so that is going to be congruent to angle T. RS. Second, third letter will be congruent to second, third letter, UV. Angle S is listed last. Angle V would be its partner. And 13, QS, that side, will be congruent to TV. These are what we call corresponding parts. Every one of these questions deals with that CP, CTC. What part does this match up with and matches up with T? They already told you the triangles were congruent. Once you know the triangles are congruent, all their parts are congruent. Now we're going to find the value of x and y. This right here with the tick mark, and tick mark is what we call an equilateral triangle. I think I spelled that wrong. Sorry, equilateral triangle. So we know every angle is 60, 60, 60, which makes it really easy to find angle y. Those are a linear pair. If I draw a nice line here, together these have to add up to 180, so y is going to be 120. Now, that angle where the 4x is, we know because it's equilateral, it's going to be 60. So 4x has to be 60, divide both sides by 4, and x is 15. At number 15, this marking and this marking tell you that this is an isosceles. That's isosceles. This mark and this mark also means that this guy's isosceles. All right, so let's think about what we remember. We learned that if this angle, this side and this side are congruent, then this angle and this angle are congruent. They're base angles. So those two angles have to be 45 each. Well, to find this guy here, it's what's left. 180 minus the 45 from this angle minus the 45 from that angle will give you 90. So our x value is 90. Down here in this triangle here, we were told this is 120. These two sides are congruent, so these two angles are going to be congruent. So you have to do this real easy. 180 minus the 120 we've already used leaves me with 60. Now these are not 60 each. They have to share that 60 degrees equally. So half of 60 would make this guy 30 and this guy 30. They total up to 60. That's 120. So 30, 30, 60 plus 120, that's your 180. So your y value is 30. 16, please omit that. We'll save that for another day. Let's talk about 17 and 18. 17, there's a 90-degree angle here, which means this is also 90 degrees. Go ahead and put that box in there. Excellent. Okay, now, we also know that this and this mark, it means we're dealing with an isosceles triangle. So if that's 35, this is also going to be 35. Okay? Now if that's 35 and that's 90, you should be able to find this angle here. We've used 90 and 35. That leaves us a little bit left. So we would do 180 minus 90 minus 35 for a total of 55. So that angle is 55, so x is 55. Okay? Now, this side here has a tick mark, this side here has a tick mark, which means this side and this side are equal. So those two sides are going to be equal. 6y minus 15 equals 3y plus 9. Pause the video, see if you get what I get. Did you get y to be 8? Good job. Now, moving over here, this and this are equal. That means this is an isosceles. Now, if that and that equal each other, if that's 60, this also needs to be 60. Huh, what does that mean? If that's 60 and that's 60, this whole thing is what kind of a triangle? Think about it. 60 degrees here, 60 degrees here. This entire angle left is 60. So not only are these isosceles, this whole one is equilateral. Awesome. So that means we have some work to do. Okay, so let's take a look. This right here is going to be 60. So that's 8y minus 12 is 60. Add 12 to both sides. That gives me 8y is 72. Divide both sides by 8. Y is 9. Now, let's talk about what else we know. This side right here is 4x minus 2, which means this side right here also needs to be 4x minus 2. Can you tell me how much it is from here all the way to here? Think about it. If from here to here is 4x minus 2, and here to here is 4x minus 2, that whole side is 8x's minus 4. How did I get that? Well, 4x and a 4x makes 8x. Minus 2 makes minus 4. So this whole bottom side is 8x minus 4. Because these were equal, this whole thing is an equilateral, this side and this side will be the same amount. So we have this angle, this side here, 10x minus 16, has to equal this side here, which we now know is 8x minus 4. Subtract 8x from both sides. We get 2x minus 16 is negative 4. Add 16 to both sides. 2x is 12, so x is 6. Remember, pause the video, rewind it. If you have any questions, please ask us. Let's take a look at a couple proofs and we'll be done. Okay. Now, remember, if they talk about it, we have to mark it. And right now, there are no marks here. So we're given, we know that goes there. We're given that angle Q is congruent to angle T. There's angle Q. There's angle T. You have to mark it. All right, I did. Side QR, tick mark. Congruent to side TR, same tick mark. Mark it. We give a little checks if you need to remind yourself to mark them. Now, number 2 says vertical angles are congruent. Do you see vertical angles anywhere? Yes, you do. There they are. Now, we got to name them. You can't just say angle R. We do have to use 3 letters, so I'm going to name this angle QRP. Is congruent to this angle over here, TRS. And those are the vertical angles, and we know they're congruent. Now, it says you should know enough to prove that triangle QPR is congruent to triangle TSR. What do we know? What do we know? Write down what you think it is. Good job. It is angle, side, angle. So now, this proof here says that side PR is going to be congruent to side SR. Well, if we already know the triangles are congruent, then we already know all their other parts are congruent. So what theorem tells us that we're going to write right here that if the triangles are congruent, then all their parts are congruent. Write it down. That's right. CP, CT, C. Remember, that always has to come after you've proven the triangle's congruent, never before. Okay? Let's take a look at this. We're given that R is the midpoint of SU. So there's SU, R is in the middle. It also told me that SV is congruent to UV. So let's talk about that. SV, tick mark. Congruent to UV, matching tick mark. Okay? Now, we're going to use this. We're not going to say it for no reason. Definition of a midpoint. Well, R was smack down in the middle of SU. So that means that this length and this length are the same, but we got to name it. So we're going to say that SR, that side, is congruent to UR by definition of midpoint. Okay? All right, the next thing is blank, and we need to figure out what to write. Well, they're going to want us to prove that SRV, this triangle here, is congruent to URV, this triangle here. Well, look at it. Aren't they sharing that? Let's mark that. Triple ticks. Why is VR congruent to VR? VR is congruent to VR because it reflects it. Now, why do we know those triangles are congruent? What do we know? What do we know? Write it down. Good job. Now, we wanted to prove that angle S up here, look at your proof, angle S is congruent to angle U. S is in the first spot, U is in the first spot. These triangles are congruent by side, 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 so we know all their parts are congruent. CP, CT, C. All right, one more proof. PQ and SR are parallel. They've already marked that for us. And they're congruent. They told us that, so they've marked that for us. So nice of them to mark it. That's given. Number 2 says we're going to use alternate interior angles are congruent, so that's going back to these parallel lines. So if you think about creating that Z, we will capture this angle along our way and this angle along our way. So those are my alternate interior angles. Angle SRP congruent to angle QPR. Now, why is PR congruent to PR? Of course it is. Now they use 2 marks here, so I'm just going to use 1. You know what that is. Good job. We know that reflexive property. It comes into play a lot. Now, it says you should know that this triangle, RQP, is congruent to this triangle. Let's look at the marks. What do we have? What? Write it here. Good job, everybody. Okay. Study hard. Good luck on your test tomorrow.